Welcome to Carrying On with TravelSMG. I'm Stephanie McCracken with Travel Show Marketing Group, joined by my co-host Kelly Wright, one of our travel agent relations managers. The goal of this podcast is to take you beyond the forum and give you an insider look into our events and the travel industry as a whole. Today, Kelly and I are joined by Sarah Stecker, owner of Travel Advisors Unlimited, and we're going to chat with her about the journey from advisor to owner and her experience with TravelSMG events, especially our Travel Agency Owners Forum, which is coming up at the end of, or in the middle of October in Riviera and Nayarit. So thanks for chatting with us today, Sarah, and hi, Kelly. All right. So Sarah.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Thanks for talking about the Travel Agency Owners Forum with us. But before we even talk about the Travel Agency Owners Forum, tell us a little bit about your journey from travel advisor to travel agency owner.
Okay, so I promised I'd be completely appropriate for this podcast for you ladies. But to be honest with you, I wanted nothing to do with being an owner. I think just the way that my creative mind works, it's being restrained within this, what I thought, boundary of being an agency owner, would keep me encapsulated and not being able to be outside of that box, which I was totally wrong, obviously, as I went on. But honestly, I got forced into it from starting in-house in travel leaders to going with as an IC on an independent agency to then getting forced into being an agency owner. Honestly, I think is the best thing that ever happened to me. And it actually opened up my creative, who I am, and allowed me to do more beyond what I thought as just a standard IC as well.
I feel like that's exactly what I see for you too. Is it's funny that you say that, to be able to like use your creativity, because I think that as an agency owner, you're able to do that so much more than if you were, being held back by someone else or something like that and using their vision or whatever. Your vision is your own and you make that happen.
So I guess the big thing too is like I've seen a lot of pull and push with that, right? So you have a double-edged sword with it. So before you have all of this freedom of no responsibility, like you don't have to worry about what tax forms to fill out and paying people and watching out for legalities and everything like that. So you don't have that almost anxiety of like what's going on, how to get those numbers, how to create those relationships. But the creative freedom on the side of it is creating that amazing relationships with like not only networking with people like you guys, but like with other agency owners and learning about how they're doing and being able to feel like, oh my God, there's so much more to this industry that you don't know about until you take yourself to the next level. And you're not going to figure that out until you're actually an agency owner. So, I think that's important to know.
And speaking of networking with fellow agency owners, we were all together in Antigua last year for the Travel Agency Owners Forum. So talk more about your experience with that event, what it did, what you got from it.
You know what? I literally was yapping with Kelly about this the other day. I don't know what you guys decided to do and pivot specifically with your company, but I was blown away. It's not the only forum or networking event that I've been to, but it was this last one that I went to took me to that next step where I needed to, where I like fired a bunch of people when I got back and I had to completely adjust the way that I did all my stuff and things. It wasn't just from Chris or Shiloh or anything like that, of actually having other owners telling me all this other stuff that I had no idea existed to elevate my company, my business, my ideas, to push me outside of my boundaries that I already think like my crazy mind is out at. But I nobody else has created an environment where a bunch of agency owners who are learning off of each other have like this mentor person and allowing us to communicate good, bad, whatever, all those ideas and stuff and things. It was amazing. and I'm not just, nobody's paying me to say this. So I just wanted to make sure it really was. And I really, really could appreciate that giving us a safe environment to be able to collaborate with all these ideas. Again, like, yes, any Tom, Dick, and Joe can put on like a really great forum or whatever, but to be able to create a space of, okay, this is about legal stuff. Okay, this is about technology stuff. This is, and I know I'm rambling, but like Chris really pushed me over my next level when we sat down with him in his room and just really spoke about it. So I have major kudos and thanks, for you guys. Lots for doing that one. Sorry. I don't know how to express that enough, that if you're an agency owner and you want the wake up call to reality of this industry, like this is something that is a must that you have to go to. So
I absolutely love that. You know, for me, like with the agency owners, when I went to the first one in Barbados a couple of years ago, after being at other travel show marketing group events, and after the event was over, exactly what you're saying there, like those peer to peers and the suppliers and the conversations that are happening are just different than any other event. And people were just like blown away by that and absolutely loved it. And like just even like on downtime, being able to talk to other owners and the friendships that you make and things like that for afterwards to be able to follow up with them. I feel like that is literally what I got from everybody when I was stuck in the airport with them afterwards.
well, and it gave us like,
The feedback.
yeah, it gives you like almost like affirmation as like an agency owner too, right? So like you guys put all this like hard work in it to try to create this environment, but like then to get the affirmation from us, that, and it gave me really some acknowledgement that I was doing things. I was on the right track of doing things. It's just maybe I needed to pivot this way a little bit more, because that's like to stop being so afraid, to actually moving to the right side instead of staying on the left side. You know what I mean? Which that was so nice to hear. And also because you guys know I'm a little bit nuts about this, but like this is a competitive industry. I don't care what anybody says. And like to be able to have other agency owners say the same thing instead of, you see on every other forum, like, oh, we're all collaborating together. Like, no, ma'am, we're not. Like, we are, but we're not. Like, we're sitting having conversations about like how we build. But at the end of the day, it's a tough business to be in. And to have this environment that you guys created was just like, anyways, okay. Sorry.
Well, no. So Kelly, that'll
Awesome.
like talk a little
I
bit
love it.
more, because Sarah talked about it's just such a benefit to be in a room with so many other agency owners and having those discussions. But talk to our vetting process of how we make sure that all of the agency owners are true, real agency owners that are facing those issues. What are our basic requirements? Who are we looking for?
I mean, we are looking at all of those applications that come in. The main thing that we're really looking for is to make sure that people have at least 3 sub-agents or ICs, and reading those questions too, right? Like when I have these meetings with people and I try to explain our application process, it's important to put down that why attend. What is this event going to do for your business, right? Like exactly what you're saying, Sarah. Like you want that event to take you to the next level. Like what will this event do to help you? And as part of the vetting, we really do that. We do check to make sure that those ICs exist, because guess what? People lie on applications all the time. So we are able to hopefully try to figure that out and vet through them and make sure that we're getting people that really do have sub-agents, people that really are agency owners and want to move their business to the next level.
And Sarah, just talking about your agency ownership in general, and traveling and these conferences that you're attending, how do you balance managing an agency, staying on top of the continue education, the networking, the traveling, and keeping your clients happy? How do you balance all of that?
I love you for asking me that question. You have no idea. So, and honestly, I feel like now I can answer that with confidence because of the owners. And again, I'm not being paid for this. But I was, and I'm, if anybody knows me in this industry, they know I'm extremely transparent. Like there's no filter. I'm very who I am. And I was drowning the last couple of years because of all trying to figure out how to balance all of that. I felt like I needed to have all of that weight on my shoulders and micromanage all the stuff and things, right? I've had to start over 3 times. I have major trust issues because of being burnt in the past. And so, like, I have this like apprehension of, oh God, what do I do next? So like when you live with that consistent anxiety, weight on your shoulders, how are my ICs doing? Are they growing? All this stuff is going through your head. And you're still trying to create relationships with suppliers, travel, deal with clients, all the stuff and things on top of that. It's a sink or swim when you're in our position. It was something that Chris had said to me and something that Kelly said to me about 15 minutes after I left that session. And it was a conversation of how basically to do this. And it was a motivation from Kelly to basically light your fire. And it pushed me to delegate a lot out. So I went home, had a conversation with 2 of my top agents, Stephanie and Michelle, and I said, I need help. Can you take over this? Can you take over that? And I delegated all of that off of my chest. We signed new contracts. We negotiated all the stuff and things. It was amazing. I also decided to step back from selling. Like, I still have specific clients that are like loyalists, which I love, but I needed to realize that if I was going to create this business after those amazing conversations, like those peer-to-peer meetings, and Kelly lighting that huge fire under my rear ends, girl, you have no idea. I'm still burning. It's it's more or less like I needed to release all of that and allow trust to happen within my team. And so if that meant getting rid of some agents and raising up some others and just putting more trust into people and not feeling like I needed to micromanage everything. So I've stepped back from selling. I have released some of that energy to my other agents, and we've doubled. In literally 6 months, we have doubled sales because I'm shifting my energy into relationships, networking, traveling, creating agent education, and then allowing my managers of my company to be able to push that off to ICs. So I don't know if that made sense to you guys. It made sense in my brain, but
No, it makes perfect sense.
Well, it made me feel really good. Let me just tell you that part.
Well,
Yeah,
and and you kind of said it. It's there's balance, but it doesn't mean you're doing everything. It's about delegation and the trusting other people and letting other people so they can grow and continue as well.
yeah. But again, I didn't realize that until I got smacked in the face with it. Like, I feel like everybody in this position, if you don't feel like you're treading water through and breathing through a straw, it's like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but like if it's too easy, maybe you're not doing it right or you're not learning the correct way. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you got to go through the struggle of all the stuff and things in order to come out even stronger in the long run. So I don't know.
I think that that's the case in so many different things, though, right? Like, I love that you say that because it is the truth. Like, you have to figure it out that way, unfortunately, like in life. And if it is too easy for someone, either that's awesome on their side, or you're right, maybe there's something that's not going on correctly or whatever else. But if they had a mentor maybe that helped them and figure it out for them in advance and be like, this was my experience, but someone's got to learn down the road. And I love that you did that. And I love that it's been better for you since, especially like that you are doing everything that you've done. And that relationship that you're building with the suppliers too, right? Like I feel like you have a different relationship probably now since all of that with different suppliers and how to vet and train your agents and all of
Yeah.
that stuff
Oh,
too.
absolutely. It's the whole different view on how to go about things is just it's I'm sitting at Disney working. I can do that now. I don't have to be chained to my It's like my manager is actually here. She just got back from the shower. We're gonna sit and have a conversation about like all this stuff and things. We're gonna work, and then we're gonna go do social media in the park. I
Don't make
will.
me
I
jealous.
will.
You had mentioned Chris a couple times, so I just want to kind of say who that is. That we're talking about Christopher Lindgren from Wonderful Adventures. He was one of the mentors, the leader facilitators for our leadership discussions.
Yeah.
Those peer-to-peer sessions are obviously like the most important aspect of the Travel Agency Owners Forum. What conversations go on in those rooms?
Oof. Well, at first you kind of go in there before, like that was the first time that I've gone to other forums or whatever, but this was more or less of like I, I think you guys chose correctly. You chose wisely for the mentors, just because you sit down in this room with a bunch of agency owners from all different demographics, right? They book all different stuff and things. Some are, a couple years in, some are decades in, and I sit in the middle of all of this. And some are very technically inclined and some people are not. So you've got a whole smorgasbord of agency owners and then this mentor that comes in and he's just like, let's create this funnel, right? So he starts asking questions, which I love because it's involvement. It's not just somebody yapping at you and trying to tell you what to do. So it's actual, like, peer to peer conversations. He's asking questions. He's asking the right questions. How is this working for you? Versus maybe trying something like this. And then it's a collaboration of ideas that will spark something new in your head that maybe you never thought of before. That's what sets this difference than anybody else. Because how many conferences have you guys been into or put together that you have, these guys sitting up on your panel and they're yapping about, all the stuff and things, but to actually sit down and have like somebody asking the right questions in a safe group area. How is that working for you? What are you guys doing? Well, how do you feel about adjusting to this? Okay. And then he's got a big piece of paper and he's writing down all these web ideas. I felt like I was in fifth grade again, which was great because I'm ADHD and very visual. So, and he's like, okay, da da da. And he starts putting together, and then it's like that light went off in my head, like, Sarah, you're being an idiot. Try this. Have a conversation and try what he's doing right now, and bam, it works. So I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for, but it's the one I got. It's a great, safe peer-to-peer conversation where you have a mentor sitting in front of you, asking you the right questions, and then helping you organize all that information for you to take home and utilize. Yes.
I love it. And I think that was a great description of it. I loved how you described it all because that's really what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be that him asking you guys questions and letting you guys talk and making sure that conversation goes and doesn't go like with one person talking all the time or go the wrong way or whatever it is. So it's great to hear from the inside perspective of that and how it works because that's kind of what you just said is kind of how I explain it to people, but it's nice to hear an agent explain it that way.
Well, and it's great too because Chris creates like this. He's very spoken, but he does have a presence in the room. Like he knows what he's talking about. You know what I mean? So it's like for him to like, and I know this is really weird for me to say, but usually I'm the quiet one. At first, don't you laugh at me. So, because I want to like just see what's going on, but he calls like he will say, "What do you think?"
Mm-hmm.
To some of the people who really are not maybe interacting, to the people who maybe look like they have something to say. Like he knows how to read the room. So that's where I have to give you guys kudos for getting the right person to do the job for sure.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And even on top of the peer-to-peer sessions and all those networking and the supplier one-to-one meetings, the other aspect of the forum in general is just experiencing a new destination or another level of a destination, the post-fams, the pre-fams, if they're available, the hotels we're staying at and the ones we visit. So tell me a little bit more about your experience of Antigua and how just being in destination helps you as an agency owner and travel advisor.
Oh my gosh. That's a loaded question. Being in destination, I think any travel advisor, the first thing that they're going to say to you is, as we're traveling, that's when we get the most clients. Like we could do as much marketing as we wanted to from home and all the different social media and blah 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 blah. But when we're in destination and showing people like, no, we're not on vacation again. Like this is work, and in destination is like, this is reality. This is, this beautiful veranda hotel that we're staying at. And this is the type of accommodations that you're going to see and do. Like people nowadays, in my opinion, our clients are very visual and everybody leads by emotion, right? So they're making an emotional investment. So when they see us doing all this stuff and things with the suppliers, if it's with the pre or post, having this experience on our own, they then gain trust in us, which is an emotional pull to us because that's what our business is based off of. I mean, they can go to Costco or Joe Schmo from, like or Chat GTP or whatever to go put in anything, but it's creating a trust that sets us above and beyond anybody else because the in destination trusted us to be able to come and learn directly from them. So I don't know. It's, I know specifically from my clients, they never say, hope you having a great time on vacation because they know I'm sweating down my back and my throat is sore by the end of the day from talking to all the suppliers. And my phone is overloaded and slow because of all the pictures and videos and contents that we're getting to be able to show them reality and not Instagram ready. I mean, real stuff. Like, there's millions of cats over here, so go to this hotel. So,
Well, I like that too. And I think that with all that too, right? You're getting those contacts for them too, and they see that. I think that that's so important for our client to see that you have those supplier contacts, that they're trusting you to come to their event, to the event, and go do all that stuff in destination. Plus, going to like Shirley Heights and seeing what we got to do there, and that you experienced those kind of things too. I feel like that's just huge on these events.
oh my gosh, absolutely. To be able to like say, okay, this has to be added to your itinerary, we would never know unless if we actually experience that ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Sarah, I was
Even though
reading your
some things look
bio.
like they're fun, they are fun.
I was reading your bio before we started, and you said something that really struck with me. You said travel isn't about vacations, it's about relationships. And that's really what it is, what you're doing. You're building relationships with your clients through trust and showing them the experiences, and you're building relationships with travel suppliers, and you're building relationships with other agency owners.
Well, and that's kind of like what our niche is. That's what I have pivoted to in the last couple of years too. I realized that not only is it like our industry changing, this isn't just something where, yeah, you can still call somebody up and do the whole, can you book me a cruise or an all inclusive or, stuff like that. But again, it's more of an emotional experience for somebody. So it's creating this out of the box experience. And with that, like, you know, from other forums that I've been on that you got like the European one, or even from that owners forum, the owners forum specifically, I met a supplier called Keys of Italy, and they messaged me and they're just like, hey, we're hosting some people to come check out our product. And can you come and hang out with us for a couple of weeks? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to say no because there are suppliers that we do not work with that we meet. And it's not to say that maybe they don't have a great product, but it's not the right product for some of our clients. We'll just keep that in our back pocket. But like one thing that we've pivoted to, and I know this is the long way around it, is sustainable travel to us in my company and the way that we see it isn't about paper straws. This is about small business owners. This is about collaborations directly with people in country, the mom pop places. And until we meet these suppliers, create relationships with them, and then are able to collaborate with them, and see firsthand what they can offer, just like that beautiful sunset view there. Um, like, that's what we want our clients to have. That's what we want them to see. So that's why we go out of our way. Basically, we're sacrificing ourselves to the supplier.
I love it.
But
I think that that's true too, right? As far as you said, you made a point there that I really agree with, that there's some suppliers that you might meet that you're not going to work with, but every single supplier doesn't have to work with your business model, right? That supplier is going to be for another agent is perfect for them possibly, but you have to go there and find those suppliers that work for you and then move forward with them. And I love that part of it too. I think that that's a great way to say it. And that was actually on another episode recently that we talked to some people and that was discussed also. And I think it's huge, definitely to think about that.
So Sarah, we've loved everything you said about our events. That makes us feel great in our hearts. So thank you for that. But why should agency owners apply for the Travel Agency Owners Forum? And this year it's October 12th through 15th in Marvel Emotions by Mercure in Riviera Nayarit. Why should everybody apply?
if you want to continue the status quo and you know everything, don't apply. If you want to learn outside of the box and become an agency owner that is going to elevate your company, you have to go. You have no choice but to apply. Because if you're not consistently learning and developing, you're going to stay stagnant and be left behind in this industry. And the only way to take yourself to the next level is by going outside of the box and doing something and networking and learning from other people within your industry, because it's just, you're going to drown and you're going to try to breathe through a straw if you don't. If you think that you've got all of your shit together and that you don't need anybody's help on anything because you can handle it all, God bless. But if you know that you're willing to do whatever it takes to make this industry better and to get it out of the funk that it has kind of seeped into, you have to go. There's no choice. I don't know if that's an answer anybody wants to hear, but I know that there's a lot of agency owners that I look at from a distance, like from social media, and that from an outside perspective going in, and this is maybe just assumptuous, but it feels like it's that consistency of, this is where I'm at and this is where you're going to stay. And that's fine. You can stay there. But if you want to level up and if you want to go outside of that box, you have to go to this. Because again, I'm very transparent. I'm very blunt with no filter. And I'll tell you, that owners forum was next level for me. That is what pushed me to the next level. And it made my anxiety of what I thought I was doing everything correct smack me direct in the middle of the face, and it gave me affirmation that I was on the right path, but I needed to stop being so scared, and I needed to just keep pushing forward of what I was, and stop worrying about what everybody else is saying. So
All right, I love that. Kelly, any other questions or thoughts you want to get from Sarah before we let her go?
Oh boy.
I just think the only real quick on the supplier side, like you and I have talked a lot about like how to work closer with suppliers and things like that. So just super fast. I mean, I know you feel that those relationships are so important and that there's so many things that the suppliers could do after events like this to work with agency owners. Can you just like quickly say like what you think that they could do?
I love how you said, can you quickly say, because I'll make this into an hour lecture to suppliers. I feel like suppliers are so stuck in this is what we do for agents or agency owners. And this, again, is my opinion. And I said this in Alaska, what they're doing is completely wrong. Like, if I get another daily email from these people, I'm going to put them to spam. I really feel like if you're going to create a relationship, it needs to be an actual authentic relationship. And I know there's hundreds of us out there and they've got to hustle, and do the same thing that we're doing to try to gain our business so that they can grow as well. But in the end game, just like Kelly, you had said earlier, you find the right people that you make connections with. The supplier to the agency owner, if it's going to work or not. And the suppliers have literally told me that, like, you know, like, I don't think we're going to get much business from them. Oh yeah, they're sounding really good. I think I'm going to work with them. Then have a conversation with us. Like, don't tell me what kind of webinars you can do and what kind of specials and stuff. Like, you have to market to how the agency is going to market. And so the relationships with me, specifically with the suppliers, is so important, because if I don't trust them and they're not going to put time into me, I'm not putting time into them. And again, I understand how very large this industry is and how many hundreds or thousands, tens of thousands of agents there are. But when you make that right connection, everybody's going to win in the long run. So, but again, that's for another podcast. That could spend a whole hours just me talking about
All right,
suppliers.
I'll add it to my list. We'll get it scheduled.
Yes. I don't know, but yeah. I love you guys. Thank you for doing this so for real, because I do feel like agency owners that need to get their head out of their butt definitely have to go to this, because it got mine out of mine. So,
All right.
that's what I'm doing today. Thank you so
You
much.
said some really amazing and helpful things, and I think it's probably going to be eye-opening for a lot of agency owners. And we do want to see everybody apply to the Travel Agency Owners Forum. We'll have the link to that application in the show notes. But Sarah, Kelly, thanks for talking with me today. We loved it. And this has been another episode of Carrying On with TravelSMG.